So hello everybody, I'm Perses Sethna, Director of Business Change Services at PRT Partners. And today I'm going to be discussing the incredible change journey that we're all going through in this pandemic and whether we are now actually ready to experiment. And today I'm thrilled to have with us Nergish Wadia-Austin, who is a leader and trainer in the hair, beauty and wellness industry. And nowhere has been more affected by this pandemic, and nowhere has been more reliant on new ideas and experimentation to get ready for the new normal. So welcome, Nergish. You have been in the thick of it.
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much, Perses, for having me for this discussion, really.
So Nergish, what are the new ideas your industry is trying out to survive and succeed in the new normal?
Well, the new normal is just since Saturday, which is Super Saturday. And of course, we were all delighted in the hairdressing sector of our industry because we were welcome to open and it was all safe to open. But the other half of our industry, sadly, the beauty industry, has not been given permission to open for whatever reason. And so there's a little bit of a sort of a fight, for the better part of a word, with government to give us that permission. So while hairdressing and barbering have actually started, and I've got some feedback from that, I can tell you that our biggest hurdle was to get into our new routines with a lot of social distancing ideas and rules. We had to put into place hygiene things like wearing visors and masks, etc., and doing our creative art and achieving it through all of those barriers now. So customers are measured, so we've had to use thermometers, etc., when they come in to make sure it's just about maintaining a level of safety the client is after. So beyond that, what else has changed is our booking systems have had to be better organized. We've had to change our scheduling systems because of social distancing. Not everyone's allowed to be in one place at one time. Customers have been told to arrive alone, basically, so that it reduces any chances of infection. So the new normal is looking good. I think that we've all had to adjust, and there is going to be a new normal. And of course, once we get through this experimental stage, I think that phase is going to be very important.
Okay, and you mentioned booking systems. How has the digital technology helped with this return and the new ideas? And did it actually exist in the past and we perhaps didn't use it before?
Well, exactly what you've said, Perse, you're absolutely correct. In our industry, we've had a lot of technology in place for booking systems and for back office management of the numbers and key performance indicators. It's teaching you how to run your business. But we've literally, for a very long time, up until about 2 years ago, we used it as a glorified till.
Right.
So we didn't actually use it to its fullest capabilities. In the last 2 years, I would say that we've used it to perhaps 50% of its capabilities. But what this time around, when COVID-19 crisis hit us, we had to learn how to use that technology in a better way. We had to be reminded all of the functions that were available. And frankly, I think it's been a revelation just how much we've relied on it, but not used it correctly. So a very large portion of the businesses that I deal with, and I pretty much deal at the top end of the industry. So they've all learned how to use their technology better. And that goes from, like I've said, booking and scheduling systems right down to their stock ordering and keeping the business functioning. We've had to, in many businesses, we've had to look at expenses and how to curb them instantly when we all had to shut shop. And, we had to talk. See, all that information was available, all that technology was available, but was never really thoroughly utilized.
That's really interesting. That's really, so in terms of transformation, perhaps it's not so much about new technology, but other things for you.
Well, it's actually utilizing the technology we've got already properly. And then actually understanding what we need from that technology, what's important, what are the bells and whistles when we're actually running a business thoroughly, then those bells and whistles come into place. We use the technology very well in the creative marketing of the business because we're creatives and we use it to do our social media posts on Instagram and stuff like that. But really, we still haven't actually used it to help the business. So yes, we make our social media very entertaining, but my job as a business trainer, consultant in the industry, I then get brought in at a time where they think, well, actually we've been using Instagram, and then I have to say to them, actually, you've not been using it correctly. Let's get it done correctly. Let's use it for what it was meant to be used for.
I see.
I suspect it's the same in your industry, isn't it?
I think a lot of people will have a note of recognition there about all the technology they haven't yet fully used.
Correct.
But and that's an interesting point. Do you think there are some lessons that your industry is learning that could be applied to others, Nergish?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that in the past, see, people with technology, other industries with technology, I can only talk about them not from a knowledge of the industry, but as a consumer of those industries. So I can tell you that, anything I use or buy, I get asked for feedback regularly from companies, and it's almost like someone collects all that feedback and all those reviews and stuff, and then I think it goes into some filing cabinet that just gets shelved somewhere, right. And no one actually uses it and implements it to make the customer experience any better. I mean, forget that. We've just got a stack of reviews and some department has done their job. I think that is no longer going to be okay, because I think the customer expectation is going to be a lot more, because I figure with all the predictions of a slowdown in people losing jobs, people watching their money more carefully, people are going to want to spend their money and get real value for money. And they're going to want to spend it in the best businesses. And what are best businesses? The ones they see as value for money, I guess, the ones they see that are actually easy to use, the ones they see that are rewarding their customers for their loyalty. It's about delivering exceptional customer service. It's all the stuff that we know, but we aren't currently doing. Because, when things have been good, we can slip into mediocrity and it doesn't matter so much. But now it is going to matter. Now delivering that customer service to an exceptional level is going to matter, because I think there's going to be much more thought put into where I'm going to spend my money. And so companies will have to use that data they've been collecting for feedback, and then gear their technology, gear their contact with their customers, gear the contact with their staff and their communication between, the external communication to customers, the internal communications to staff. That's all going to have to improve significantly and meaningfully.
Yes, a very important point. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so Nergish, how are you going to continue the good work here in terms of the future? Hopefully through this next few weeks, things will gradually improve in the way you've talked about. What are the future plans that you have in mind?
So for me personally, it's different, because I have run a standard in the industry. I've had to take it, almost let it lie dormant for a little while when all this has gone on. And I'm actually relaunching it in a way that is much more sensible for the consumer and for the younger people entering the market. So basically, for us, there has not been, in fact, in most industries, there hasn't been a performance measure in place. And that's something I've introduced in my industry, and I'm about to relaunch it shortly. So I've had to change the name. I've had to change the algorithms that I use ever so slightly in the AI that, it's a small amount of AI, and it measures performance in a way that lets the consumer know that these people in fact are the best performers in our industry. They are in fact the best professionals in the industry, and we've checked that. And we just haven't taken people's word for it. We've actually checked their credentials. So that's my contribution going forward, to showcase the best in industry. And so that's how I'm going to contribute. But the industry actually is going to definitely up their game in the form that, because we are in the touchy-feely business, so we do, I know that didn't sound quite right, but we actually do have contact with the customer, because we're doing hair and beauty services. So that's going to be something that customers are going to be very conscious of when it comes to hygiene, because I think this COVID situation is going to carry on for a little while longer.
For a time to come.
are going to be conscious of that. So although our hygiene standards have been good, they're now exceptional and visible, because that gives reassurance to the customer.
Reassurance, yeah, yeah.
So that's had to change. We've had to refit businesses. We've had to put screens into places that screens have never been, and I think other industries will have to do that. I think the plastic screen industry is going to thrive for a little while longer. So yes, and just utilize the data that people have. When I'm teaching, I'm going to make that a priority. You know, my courses were in person, now they're online. So technology has had to play a big part in the way that I function. And I think even in the way that salons function. For example, we used to allow a 45-minute appointment for you going to your barber, for instance. And now the barber is tempted to actually call you and do the consultation online first, before you step into the barbershop.
Yes,
so that's changed again, and that's where technology plays a part.
It's very interesting when you talked about your own AI algorithms. So many times one hears about the AI first and then the business application almost afterwards. It's very interesting that it was almost like just something under the bonnet for the business application that you were talking about. It was very much an enabler for what you really knew about the standards in your industry, and that's a very interesting thing too.
Correct, because it helped me measure them in a formal way. It helped me measure them, and it took away the look. I am in a creative industry, and we are very emotional, all of us. But it's a business, and it has to rely on the data. And the thing that I guess when I'm teaching leadership skills to managers running a spa, a barbershop, or a salon, one of the things I find that they've got this technology and they just don't utilize the data that's collected. They've got this ton of data that's collected, and they don't allow the data to tell the story that it tells about the business. They don't seem to grasp that. And a lot of my time has been spent designing courses this time around. I've had to make them bite-sized modules, etc. But now it's going to concentrate on, never mind whether you like the employee, it doesn't matter. What is their data telling you about them? And how are they dealing with customers? And how are they delivering your vision to the customer? And the data is telling you, pay attention to the data, pay attention to the feedback that you've gotten, and actually utilize it to drive that business forward, to grow that business.
Understood. Okay. Well, Nergish, a huge number of interesting insights there in terms of discoveries, experimentation, new ideas. Good luck indeed to you and all you're doing with the industry. I know you're in the middle of 100 conversations, I know, across the industry right now. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much, Perses, for asking me, and I hope your discussion series takes off.
Thank you very much. And as you can see, I've had to cut my own hair recently, so I'm looking forward to visiting one of the salons you've talked about in the very near future.
Perses, don't forget that we are recruiting barbers at all times. Thank you, Perses. I
quite make the mark on that one, but thank you so much, and all the best.
Take care.
Bye for now.